I do some gigs in the city where I'm using the house backline, and it's just my monitor, you know, right. and they're taking the DI out of the head. So if the head is boring, that's the same thing that's going to go to the house. If you do this, you know, then you can make a sound, and it's going to sound amp-like, but it's not going to sound like a digital model. This actually has it, you know. It breathes, and it breaks up when it's supposed to. And the thing is about the B15, you know, because I've owned them in the past. My first amp was a B15. When you hear the sound isolated and soloed, you're not going to hear 30 hertz, you're not going to hear 15K, you're not going to hear all that stuff that you hear from modern amps with the expanded frequency response. You're going to hear a very focused sound. And if it's not what you're used to, you might say, well, gee, there's not enough of this, there's not enough of that. But it never fails. You put a mic on a B15, as you guys know, and put it up in the track, and there it is.
And there it goes, right?
You know, my buddy plays bass for Emmylou Harris, and I saw him in Brooklyn last week. And he played a little Epiphone EB2 through a B15, and it was just the fattest thing in America. I heard every note he played, and I bet you on stage they might have even said, oh, gee, if the band was playing loud, it's a shame you can't get any more bottom end out of that amp or any more volume. It's just 35 watts. It's not going to shake you, you know. But something about when you turn up that fader, it's all good. Just like with Fenders, you know. This is not a Ken Smith or something, and, you know, expanded frequency response, but then engineers say, hey, that's great, you got a Fender? Because I can't get that bass to cut through, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, this is pretty interesting. Okay, so this is off. I'm being careful of the gain because that front end distorts easily. So I'm backing off the bass, treble, and the gain, and just cranking the album. And check this out. If you put a Rick through there or something, that's great. You're not losing the essence of the instrument. I mean, even some of these pedals that give you more bottom end and stuff, you're losing the true essence of the instrument. This doesn't do it. It's enhancing it. I'm cutting bottom end. You know, imagine a Rick through that, you know? And then you can get, let me see what we can do here. Okay, that's without it, you know? Tremendous distinction. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Like an amp really should work, you know? Really cool. A little bit of this. I mean, you know, this is a Fender, and it's a one-note piano, but it's got a bottom end that is just, it can't be beat. There's nothing wrong with it, and you don't want to mask it, right? You want to enhance it.
That was the whole idea
yeah.
behind this.
This is not, you know, if you got a really shitty sounding bass, this will make it sound good, but that's not what it's meant to do. You know, it's you know, this is a great bass, and it's not that it needs to. You don't need to make this bass sound great. It already is great. But depending on the situation, you're going through PA, this and that, you want to be able to enhance it, you know?
Right.
Just like all the EQs and stuff you guys got. You shouldn't have to make a sound. You take a great sound and you can shape it to the song and to the band, which is what it's all about, is the versatility and making it fit in right, you know? Still hear my bass through all this, and I'm really getting carried away with it. Right. But I could still hear the P bass.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said, oh, it'd be great playing roundabout or something. Really, it's not a Rick. It would sound cool. Some of these boxes, you can't even tell what guitar they're playing through, because it completely commandeers the essence of what the guitar is. And maybe sometimes people want that, but I don't know. To me, is you got a really good instrument, you don't want to hide what it is. You don't want that Les Paul to sound indistinguishable. Whether, is that a Strat? Or, you should know that's a Les Paul, but it's going through some really cool box. You know, it's really awesome, but there's a great Les Paul underneath there.
Right.
You know. Big stack, like a clean Marshall or a Fender Bassman, would hurt a lot of people. You know, this is no bullshit. The Generator and the Fuzz, and I'm still hearing the note, and there's quite a bit of stuff.